Breaking news right now. Fox 40 has learned through sources that the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department at this hour is working a significant break in the search for the East Area rapist. A possible arrest might have been made. Again, detectives are working at this hour on this development, and the department hopes to release more information. East Area rapist, Golden State Killer, Visalia ransacker, and the original Night Stalker. Those are the names investigators have called this man right here, Joseph James DeAngelo. Tonight, authorities say he is responsible for tormenting parts of Sacramento County, the Bay Area, as well as Southern California. Glad you're with us tonight at 5. I'm Nikki Lorenzo.
And I'm Eric Rucker. 72-year-old Joseph DeAngelo was arrested yesterday at his Citrus Heights home and booked into jail today. It comes after decades of investigation, but finally, authorities say they have cracked this cold case. Authorities have been crawling all around DeAngelo's Citrus Heights home on Canyon Oaks Drive all day. Law enforcement from multiple agencies, including the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, searched the home today. DeAngelo was arrested at the home yesterday afternoon. Taking a look at the timeline of the suspected East Area rapist, Joseph DeAngelo went to Folsom High School from 1961 to 1963, but did not graduate. He got his GED in 1964. Reports say he joined the Navy in 1964. He then attended Sac State and Sierra College in 1970. DeAngelo then joined the Auburn Police Department in 1976. Before that, he had been a police officer in Exeter near Visalia. That was in 1973. The East Area rapist attacks started in June of 1976 in Rancho Cordova. His last suspected crime, a murder, that happened in May of 1986.
And we're going to continue with the background. Between 1976 and 1986, the East Area rapist is accused of dozens of rapes and at least 12 murders. Here's a look at the state right now, a map showing just how prolific the suspect was during that 10-year period. Most of those crimes happening in the Sacramento area and Northern California before 1980. The majority of the murders happening in Southern California.
The answer has always been in Sacramento.
The answer to perhaps the most important question that's gone unanswered for more than 40 years. Who is the East Area rapist? Today, law enforcement believes they've found that answer. 72-year-old Joseph James DeAngelo. An arrest warrant was issued on Tuesday for 2 counts of murder with special circumstances for the 1978 murders of Brian and Katie Majori in Rancho Cordova. But the crimes committed by the East Area rapist have plagued law enforcement for decades, all across the state.
Crimes that spanned 10 years across at least 10 different counties, Northern, Central, and Southern California.
Upwards of 50 rapes and 12 murders in Sacramento, Ventura, and Orange counties. What linked them together?
The answer was and always was going to be in the DNA.
This is one of the closed down roads here, and one of the things that's very dangerous that this car's about to do is there's down power lines straight ahead from here. We've seen a couple cars pass over it. While this one is safe, that's something that people in this area have to watch out for. So if you have any family and friends that live in the Redding area and they're asked to evacuate, ask them to be safe and make sure they follow that evacuation order.
That is where we begin tonight. A state of emergency has been declared in Butte County because of the Camp Fire. Wind-fueled flames are burning out of control, shutting down portions of Highway 99. Glad you're with us tonight at 10 o'clock. I'm Nikki Lorenzo.
And I'm Eric Harriman. Fire officials say that those flames have destroyed as many as 1,000 buildings already, and at least 2 firefighters have been hurt as that fire was sweeping through, literally through, the city of Paradise in Butte County. So here's the latest from CAL FIRE. Areas east of Chico have been upgraded from an evacuation warning that was late this afternoon to now a mandatory evacuation order. At least 20,000 acres have been burning since that fire sparked early this morning. It is 0% contained as of this hour tonight, and CAL FIRE says that at least 15,000 structures are still threatened.
So here's a look at the area that's burned. Flames have jumped ridges close to several towns, eventually down the ridge into Paradise. All day, the fire has surged, moving east toward Chico. Fox 40's Eric Rucker joining us now live in Butte County with the latest on the firefighting efforts there. Eric.
And Nikki, we are in Chico, and setting the scene here is going to be extremely straightforward. You can see the flames making their way towards the eastern part of Chico off in the distance. The only thing separating those flames from the homes to our left is a grassy field. And now CAL FIRE and all the other fire trucks getting ready to head out onto that field, onto this private property, so they can go meet those flames head on before they get to the homes. Now, here is how they're preparing here and the devastation that has already occurred elsewhere.
Police department,
Within the last hour, Chico police going door to door in this East Chico subdivision, telling everyone to get out as flames move closer. Did you think the fire would get to Chico?
No, honestly, I didn't think it would get here today.
Resident Mike Nichols has been following the campfire all day. He says this is like the wine country wildfires and other massive fires throughout the state all over again.
Yeah, hopefully people are a little bit more prepared based on what's happened before, the Santa Rosa incidents and the LA fires. So, hopefully people are prepared and they've packed and been following it and evacuating when they should be.
As Chico waits for flames, the town of Paradise already ravaged. This amazing scene unfolding Thursday night in the downtown area. Nearly everything has burned. This was Paradise Elementary. To the east, the Feather River Hospital's old building has been destroyed. The newer one, feet away, guarded by fire trucks. As homes in the Paradise area continue to burn, rows of burned cars line the roads. A horrific reminder of an absolutely horrible day. Okay, back out here live now. The attack is underway. These fire trucks making their way out onto this field, trying to stop those flames before they reach this subdivision and other subdivisions in the East Chico area. You are not really able to see it because it is extremely dark, but if we pan over to the left, there's where a little bit of a trouble lies because, okay, you can see the flames there, and you're not going to be able to see it because it is dark, but there's a row of trees, a whole bunch of trees and foliage up that way. If the wind picks up, and it has in the last 5 to 10 minutes, and gets in those trees, you're going to have some major issues for the eastern part of Chico and then to the eastern and northern part of where we are at. That is if that indeed does happen. But right now, the wind's moderate, but as we mentioned, they have picked up. The one thing that is so bizarre about all of this is it is cold right now. It is very cold right now. And you don't often see a fire burning, threatening homes, doing the devastation it already did with the temperatures this low. Obviously, we are in November, and obviously this is how much of a difference really high winds can make. We're live in Chico. I'm Eric Rucker, Fox 40 News.
Entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble when the campfire raced through, but one family's home was spared by the fire.
And that home was saved because of the extraordinary effort by a team of strangers who helped to keep hospital patients who were mid-evacuation safe. Fox 40's Joe Khalil joins us now live in Oroville with more on that story. Joe.
Eric, we've heard a lot of stories about people driving out as flames were literally on all sides of them. That's not just for family cars. That's also for emergency vehicles, things like ambulances. And tonight what we heard is one story, incredible survival story of a group of people, hospital workers, family members, and firefighters all coming together to help survive.
6-day-old Hallie is the last baby born at Feather River Hospital. Just moments after she arrived, the campfire began to surround the building.
It came over the speaker, evacuate the hospital, all patients need to be moved.
I went to my patients' rooms and I said, just grab your baby, we gotta go, just grab your baby, there's no time.
In the scramble to evacuate, Hallie's mother, Heather, had been separated from her child, put into an ambulance and driven away. Her ambulance made it about half a mile before it began to literally melt in the flames. Her C-section surgery left her lower half of her body numb. She couldn't move and made what she thought would be her last phone call.
I said goodbye to my husband and just told him to tell our kids that I love them and that I was sorry. I was sorry I wouldn't be there. Wow. It was very, very hard.
And I heard the ambulance in front of us is on fire.
Nurse Tamara Ferguson was in an ambulance behind Heather's, making the same last phone call to her family.
They kept telling me, like, no, you're going to be fine. And I kept trying to convince them, no, you don't understand. I'm not going to be fine. There's no way I'm going to survive this. There's fire blowing at me.
As the fire was consuming homes all around them, a stranger helped Heather get out of her ambulance and wheeled her up this driveway on Chloe Court. Nurse Tamara followed. Eventually, they ran into David Hawks, Paradise's fire chief.
There's a dog door here that one of the paramedics made access to. We unlocked the garage, moved patients into this home and sheltered them in place. I said, hey, if you follow the directions, which is to clear this home of pine needles, that we would be safe here.
What happened next was nothing short of amazing. EMTs and nurses became stand-in firefighters. Some getting on the roof of this home, clearing gutters of brush, hosing down the outer edge of the property, saving this home, all while their patients were kept safe inside.
And he said, you do this, you do this, you do this. And all of us shifted our minds to what do we need to do for survival mode here.
They followed directions. They did exactly what I asked them to do.
Amid a neighborhood devastated by the Camp Fire, this Chloe Court home survived. So did all of the patients and medical staff inside.
I am so happy that my home was spared so that their lives could be spared. That was that home's purpose, was to save those people.
Desiree Borden owns this home with her husband. Not long before it was used to save lives of people she'd never met, she was fleeing from it with her 17-month-old daughter in the car.
I was singing nursery rhymes to her, trying to keep her calm, although she was very calm. I don't know if I was singing the nursery rhymes for her or for me. I just knew that our story couldn't end that way. We couldn't burn alive in a car.
It wasn't until one of the nurses sent Desiree a Facebook message that she learned her home was still standing. She'd assumed, like her neighbors' homes, it was gone. Now, these people, all strangers a few days ago, forever bonded through one common story of survival.
We're all here. We're able to talk about this, and it's absolutely extraordinary.
It's humbling to know that your life was spared when so many aren't and so many are unaccounted for.
Paradise reduced to rubble. Please take a look at your screen. This used to be a neighborhood, people's homes. Paul tells us how we can help those in need through the Salvation Army.
Yeah, and let me begin by saying, and I believe Major Wild from the Salvation Army will back me up on this, maybe the best way to feel good about yourself is to do something for someone else.
Oh, absolutely. There's something about connecting with that, absolutely.
Oh, and the feeling in the studio this morning as these people have been answering phones, and I mean they've been ringing off the hook, all to benefit, our fellow Northern Californians impacted by this fire.
This is unbelievable.
Wind whipped flames engulf wine country. A sudden firestorm tears through neighborhoods, a wildfire unlike any other.
I've seen fires like this, but not like this one.
With just minutes to get out alive.
Come on! Oh, she's disabled! All right, let me get her feet.
First responders putting their own lives on the line to get people out of the fire's path.
Sheriff's office!
It's devastating. It's devastating.
Entire communities leveled, their lives shattered.
What we went through, it's pretty heavy.
Now, 1 year after surviving the firestorm, those who lived through the disaster remain resilient.
There's still a lot of healing. There's still a lot of trauma that we need to understand and kind of continue to move forward with.
This is Wine Country Rising. And thanks for being with us. I'm Nikki Lorenzo.
And I'm Eric Harriman. It was 1 year ago to the day that this is what thousands of families across wine country were having to deal with, what they were waking up to, their homes reduced to rubble, their memories burned to ash, just about everything that they knew gone overnight. A couple of days ago, I got to go home and talk to mom and dad and some very close family friends, not just about the fires and what happened that day and the days that followed, but what the process of recovery has been like now 1 year later.
Never forget it because it did. Started on my birthday. Everybody says, yeah, that was a lot of candles on your birthday. That's what did it.
Not exactly the birthday present Dad wanted, but after a few days of watching two fires burning right towards them in East Santa Rosa,
we knew that they were all burning fiercely. Just unbelievable.
Things got real.
Get out now.
Real quick. Mom and Dad live on a hillside with a beautiful view most of the time.
See it? It's called a saddleback in the hills, and I saw the flames flickering up above through that.
Then it became clear what that flicker was.
That big orange glow all night, we watched that burn. That is Coffey Park burning.
We are going to start with Sinceri Tonsil. Sinceri, you were there on I-5 and at the Golden One Center tonight.
Yes, and this is where that dramatic day of protest really came to a head. You really couldn't tell it. Looking at the area now, there is a lot that has been cleaned up here and cleared out. Those pushing back against what they say is a racist police system being literally pushed and tased by officers in front of Golden One Center as they stand up on behalf of Stephon Clark. Their day of activism started loud but much less intensely in front of Sacramento City Hall. Then Champ by champ, step by step, this action against what protesters say was the unjust killing of Clark at the hands of city police took over downtown, blocking intersections during the peak of the evening commute.
I'll be off of 29th Street. Is my son gonna be next? I got 3 little boys. What's the reason for killing him? Because he black. Y'all can say because he had a gun. Oh, he didn't. So what's the reason for killing him?
I want her to see that we always stand up for what's right no matter what. Even if she's tired and hungry and uncomfortable, sometimes we have to stand up for what's right.
To them, what would be right would be Clark still being alive, not fired on 20 times by men who did not announce themselves as police while in his backyard. Officers maintain their video of the incident shows they were pursuing him as a car burglary suspect who came at them with what they thought was a gun.
Protesting the Sunday killing of Stephon Clark in his own backyard, protesters have taken their march right down Day Street and are now going all the way up I-5 North with their message of an end to police brutality.
This effort, led by Black Lives Matter Sacramento, eventually shut down both directions of Interstate 5 near the Amtrak station. With emotional demands for justice by Clark's relatives and overflowing frustration aimed at police. After leaving the interstate, this protest targeted the King's new throne, Golden One Center, the jewel of downtown. Protesters yelled at and around Kings fans trying to enjoy a pregame dinner, eventually stopping ticket holders from entering the arena.
What's going on? Hey, man, don't break into cars. You don't got a problem. I mean, he created his own problem, didn't he?
And with all that, those standing up on behalf of Stephon Clark say they are not finished. Reporting live in Sacramento, Sincere Tonsel, Fox 40 News.
Tonight, Fox 40 does have team coverage for you tonight on these demonstrations. Joe Khalil spoke to city leaders. We'll get to him shortly. But for now, let's get to Fox 40's Doug Johnson. He's live downtown. Doug, you've been there since the beginning at noon today at the Tower Bridge. What's happening right now?
Well, Ty, if you take a look behind me, you can see they are here in front of the federal courthouse near the Amtrak station. This march has been kind of just moving around downtown. They were here hours ago. They went back to Tower Bridge, went back to the Capitol. They've kind of been doing loops around the city. You can see they let that Amtrak bus go through the crowd, I think because people on the bus were actually giving them the fist in the air. So folks said, well, let them through, let them through. But as you take a look down I Street here, all these people trying to get home, trying to get on Interstate 5 right now, that's not going to happen. They are waiting for this crowd to leave before they can get on. And in fact, Wes, if you take a look all the way to your left to the on-ramp, I don't know if you can see it from here. Keep going. We have the CHP blocking the on-ramp right there to make sure protesters, they don't do a repeat of what they did yesterday, where they actually got on the freeway and shut it down. And take a look at some of the video we shot earlier today of people marching. This march started at the Tower Bridge with many people voicing their frustrations with the Stephon Clark case.
Say his name! Stephon Clark! Say his name! Stephon Clark! Say his name! Stephon Clark!
But soon it left the sidewalk and went onto the streets. The majority of several hundred of the protesters did remain calm. However, once a group did surround a police car, forcing the officer inside to back up, almost hitting another vehicle behind her. Later, protesters also tried to gain access into the Sacramento County Jail, but deputies inside would not let them in. Protesters did try to get onto I-5 at the on-ramp in front of the Amtrak station in downtown Sacramento. However, CHP officers in riot gear blocked anyone from getting through. Again, there were some tense moments there between officers and protesters. We spoke with one protester who knew Stephon Clark before his death, Eric Davies, who told us he was marching for justice.
What is justice in your mind?
A rightful conviction. They convict him like they would do me if I was to shoot somebody in their backyard. They do, you know, it's no passive. It's just because they're police. I mean, come on, man. At some point, you have to burn or divide the bridge of what's right and what's wrong, man.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people out here are saying. They just want to see justice. They want to see these two officers prosecuted. Take a look, though. They're moving once again.
We want to give people a perspective of where all of this got started in terms of getting onto the highway yesterday. This was much farther up. They've pulled this line forward today to try to hold it and keep people from getting onto the highway.
The protesters just telling them, we know that you're frustrated that you can't move in traffic for these 5 minutes right now, but we've been frustrated about police shootings for a long time. So they're telling the drivers, you know what, you're going to have to wait until we're done.
All right, I want to take you back now to City Council chambers right now. That's Devontae. He's Stephon Clark's brother who is speaking at tonight's City Council meeting. We were just monitoring this situation. There was just some emotional moments. Mayor Steinberg was speaking. He jumped up and started talking. They handed over the mic. Let's
get the window, I said. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, Devontae. Hey, shut up. You don't run shit here. Devontae. Y'all hear me? He's the mayor. Enough. Y'all hear me? Do y'all got my back? Now, the mayor wants to talk to me. The chief of police got my brother killed. He doesn't care. He shows no emotion at all. And y'all get mad at me for not crying on.
Dorothea Puente maintained her innocence until the end.
You know what I'm talking about. I have never killed anybody.
Taking the truth with her to her grave in 2011. Long after her death, Clausen still feels no justice.
You know, she was an evil woman and she put up a front. She conned a lot of people.
Tonight, we're launching season 2 of our podcast series, Exposed, this time on Dorothea Puente. We take you inside this house, the notorious house on F Street, and also you'll hear much more from lead detective John Cabrera. He takes us through the details of the case and also the mysteries that still haunt him today. Exposed, The Shadow Keeper, is available now. Their pain hasn't faded, but neither has their hope. Hope that by retracing his path, understanding his twisted mind, and using modern technology, this notorious criminal who's been in the shadows for 40 years will finally be exposed. Starting tonight, Fox 40 is launching a new podcast series, Exposed, the East Area Rapist.
The fight for families at the border.
Reunite! It's only right!
Under pressure.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
The president reverses his separation policy, but critics say the battle is only just beginning.
The sights and sounds of 2,000 children being taken from their parents at the border sparked outrage across the nation and on Capitol Hill.
We will not apologize for the job we do or for the job law enforcement does for doing the job that the American people expect us to do. It is important to note that these minors are very well taken care of. Don't believe the press.
We don't like to see families separated. At the same time, we don't want people coming into our country illegally.
And thanks for joining us for our Immigration Crisis Special. I'm Nikki Lorenzo.
And I'm Joe Khalil. We're going to tackle a lot tonight, diving deeper into issues of immigration, how past administrations have handled immigration families at the border, and we're going to hear from experts on where the divisive issue goes from here.
But for a child living in constant fear of deportation, of being separated from her mother, left emotional scars that haven't gone away.
I think it was implied that my family would be separated, and that was enough to make someone feel terrified, not knowing where to go to look for help, not knowing where to find us, and all of this was like this thing played over and over in my mind. By the time I thought this is normal, like everyone will feel this way.
Now an adult and a U.S. citizen, Alma understands the choice her mother made.
There were 3 houses that we got, we put offers on, and cash buyers took out from under us.
They just kept raising the rent behind us, and we just couldn't pay it anymore.
I am truly a senior citizen, and I'm truly getting priced out of it.
Soaring rental costs and rising home prices. The cost of living where you want is getting harder.
I'm Doug Johnson in Sacramento. We'll tell you what first-time homebuyers are doing to give themselves the edge over cash investors.
Plus, the push for rent control.
Rent in general is pretty high.
And how voters could decide what the limits on rent would be.
And local groups working to keep families off the street with a roof over their heads.
This isn't just a Sacramento state issue. This is a California issue, and it's a nationwide issue.
I'm Sarah Zendenom at Sacramento State, where university officials are doing what they can to curb student housing insecurities. Hear from students about their struggles and how you can help.
This is our unaffordable housing special. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Joe Khalil.
And I'm Nikki Lorenzo. If you've been looking to buy a home, you're not alone in noticing prices, they have gone up.
You're watching Channel 40. That's the news. Thank you and good night.
It's happening live in front of you.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nikki Lorenzo.
And I'm Eric Harriman. Tonight we are celebrating 50 years of Fox 40.
Eric, it was an evening filled with lots of hugs, lots of tears, and lots of hope. As you all just mentioned, a Marine combat veteran who had some kind of mental breakdown in April. That is how investigators are describing the gunman in the Borderline Bar and Grill shooting. For those who lost someone in what happened here behind me, they're describing it all as unnecessary evil.
The door girl, Christina, and one of the security guards, Tell. They were both amazing people. And we want everybody to just hug each other really close tonight. And we can't believe that they're gone.
Emotions raw as Kathleen McCann and her friends grieve for two other friends who they say were more like family, employees at the Borderline Bar and Grill. Their lost lives lifted up like these candles at a vigil in Thousand Oaks to honor what's now missing from this heartbroken community. McCann's friends were on duty as the gunman investigators have identified as Ian David Long opened fire inside, killing 12 people before killing himself. Taylor Von Malt was also on duty, dancing on stage as a promoter when she saw a figure dressed in black approach.
I thought I heard balloons popping, and after the third one I turned around and I saw him in the front entrance. These aren't just friends we lost, these are family, you know? I've gone there for 2 years, I'm a promoter there. These are my family, and knowing that I lost at least 4 of them, it's just something that'll live with me forever.
Von Malt was able to escape without being shot, but her arm was injured as she was trampled in the panic inside the bar. That panic, familiar and frightening for many in this crowd, survivors of the Las Vegas Route 91 concert shooting.
It's like the Band-Aid is just kind of being torn off over and over again, and it's just trying to get through it with a lot of faith and support from our friends and our families.
And offering that same support.
How precious did
along with this entire community to those they know need it so much now.
Was blind, but now I see.
Tell, the young man identified by some of his friends as one of those killed in this Borderline Bar and Grill shooting, also a Route 91 survivor. Reporting live in Thousand Oaks, Sincere Tonsel, Fox 40 News.
History certainly made here in California, but also across the country in a lot of different states tonight. Voters turning out in record numbers to cast their ballots in this midterm election. And Fox 40 has you covered on all the races and those ballot initiatives that matter to you moving forward for the next few years, from the local measures to the House races and, of course, the hotly contested race for governor that Nikki was just talking about. That's where we begin our midterm election coverage for you tonight.
Sources tell Fox 40 within days of that call, the elderly victim was left with nothing. Fox 40's Sarah Zendenom has been working on the story for weeks and joins us now with the details. Sarah.
That's right, Nikki. It is a story that we've been following for weeks, and one with serious allegations against a Sacramento County Sheriff's deputy. We went to the neighborhood where the victim lived, and neighbors tell us they started seeing red flags. And that's how this story came to light, with a concerned neighbor calling the Sheriff's Department and reporting their suspicions.
She promised to protect and serve, but is now under investigation.
Completely out of the realm of what we would expect of officers as well as just people in general.
Sacramento County Sheriff's Deputy Stephanie Angel is on paid administrative leave. Her own department now tasked with the job of investigating one of their own.
Every year, the California Capitol Air Show roars into town. It's a great event for area families, but it's also about more than the planes. Ticket sales directly impact our kids' future, like Michelle Hansen, who's studying aviation flight to become a pilot, and Christian Ruff studying computer science. At Fox 40, we proudly stand behind the air show and their efforts to create an environment of learning for the future.
Most of the Air Force pilots I spoke to say they do this on a regular basis, even pulling as much as 9 Gs at a time. Surprisingly, Grant and I made it through without throwing up or passing out. After that, it was smooth sailing, getting views only some have dreamed of. The mountains in the background, the Pacific Ocean, and of course, flying over that Golden Gate Bridge and seeing Alcatraz Island. Lieutenant Colonel Mamie even had enough trust in me to let me take control of the plane and fly around for a bit. We went through some formation landings, tactical turns, and other training methods that Air Force pilots go through. But in all this, the action wasn't just in the sky. Once we landed, we got to see the action on the ground. I sat in the front seat of a Dodge Charger and followed the high-altitude U-2 plane as it was practicing touch and goes. The plane is so big, pilots can't land it without assistance. That's where we come in, going as fast as 120 miles per hour, all while giving instructions to the pilot on how close he is to the ground.
The Golden State on fire. Wind-driven wildfires explode. Firefighters working around the clock to get the flames under control.
The visibility is far too low, and it's too hazardous to fly aircraft.
Countless homes destroyed, neighborhoods ravaged by flames. One Butte County community virtually wiped off the map.
So please pray for us that we get out of here, okay? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Thousands of families forced from their homes, grabbing what they can and getting out as flames race closer with no relief in sight.
Devastation across California tonight. 3 wildfires are burning more than 200 square miles, forcing tens of thousands of families to pack up and go.
The largest fire is also the one that's closest to us. The Camp Fire has wreaked havoc on communities in Butte County. Flames racing through neighborhoods, destroying everything in its path. And tonight we're learning the Camp Fire has claimed even more lives. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10 o'clock. I'm Nikki Lorenzo.
And I'm Eric Harriman. Fire officials are confirming 9 people have died since that fire started early yesterday morning. Some have been found dead in their cars as they were trying to escape those flames. The flames just engulfed that vehicle altogether. Others were found just outside their homes.
And those that were able to escape will eventually be coming back to this. Abandoned cars line the sides of the roads. Ash and rubble surround shells of what used to be family homes and businesses in the town of Paradise. The majority of that town is completely gone. Many people are now left wondering what, if anything, was spared by the flames.
We're hopeful. Even if it is there, I cannot imagine living in the devastation that's there.
My whole family, all of our houses are gone. All my sisters have no insurance. It's gonna be a hard time. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm scared.
Your heart just breaks for those families affected by this fire. For one family, the devastation goes beyond 4 walls and a roof.
It sure does. No matter what, you want to protect your kids at all costs. And while escaping the Camp Fire, they got separated from their 12-year-old daughter, and they still have no idea where she is. Fox 40's Charmaine Nero is live in Butte County with more on that. Charmaine.
Nikki, Eric, she tells me it was a race against time trying to get a hold of her 2 daughters while flames surrounded their car. But unfortunately, tonight, one of those daughters is still missing.
I love you, Crystal. Please try and get a hold of us somehow.
A heartfelt plea.
We've been searching for her all night. We checked all the Chico shelters. We checked here. We haven't heard. There's nobody.
Alicia Harmon's 12-year-old daughter, Crystal, went missing during the chaos of Thursday's evacuations. The family went to pick up their youngest from school while a family friend was picking up Crystal. All of this happening while flames surrounded their car.
Her friend's mom had her, and we were in a different car, and we were headed up, and we got separated.
And by the time we picked up her and headed out of Magalia, it was jam-packed.
Steve Walsh with the American Red Cross says he's been getting calls from families searching for loved ones for most of the day.
We're giving them, general advice like call the sheriff's office if you can, put messages on social media, call their friends, their job.
Everything the Harmon family says they've done, but still no answers, while they say their home is destroyed.
From what we've heard, it's gone.
Yeah.
We lost everything.
They won't stop looking until they find Crystal.
Really wish you went home, but we're really worried about you, so please come back soon.
The family says they're staying in this area until they find their daughter. If you want to know how to locate a loved one, we'd include that information on our website at fox40.com. But for now, live in Butte County, Charmaine Nero, Fox 40 News.
Charmaine, thank you. So while the search continues for that little 12-year-old girl, several other people are also missing in the middle of all of this. So these are the faces of the dozens of people who are unaccounted for, considered missing at this point, and there could be more out there than pictured here. So that being the case, the Red Cross has launched something called their Safe and Well list. That's basically a message board where those affected by this wildfire can see if their loved ones are safe and exactly where they're staying right now. And we have put a link to that on our website, fox40.com.
A big question tonight, how did this fire start? This is not confirmed, but according to the Mercury News, the fire may have started by down PG&E lines. Again, the Mercury News reporting that the down power lines coupled with the high winds started the deadly fire. The paper says that information came from radio conversations they obtained from a source. Now, according to the Associated Press, PG&E says it experienced a problem on an electrical transmission line near the site of the campfire. The AP reports the company said in a paragraph sent to state utility regulators that it had experienced the outage about 15 minutes before the fire started. And tonight we're getting a look at a new video of families escaping the flames.
Yeah, it gives you a really good idea of the frantic nature of what's been going on in the last 24 hours. So you can hear this dad calming his young daughter as they were trying to get out of paradise. Listen to this.
I'm gonna stay away from it, okay? Yeah. Yep.
Imagine trying to stay together with a little one in the car driving through that. Another woman recorded video of her family as they made that very dangerous journey trying to get out of town.
We are evacuating Paradise, California. We can't even see. We don't know where the fire is. So please, 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 please pray for us that we get out of here, okay? Oh my God. Oh my God.
And we did get an update here. The family that you're listening to there navigated through that smoke, through that fire, and finally escaped.
This is unreal. Yeah.
Never seen anything like it, but
God, no, we passed it. What are we gonna do?
Okay.
Lost their home and two of their cats. Again, sorry, that family lost their home and two of their cats. They say that they were very grateful that they were able to make it out alive, though.
And right there, those are just some of the stories of people trying to get out before it's too late, and those who were able to leave in time are now desperately waiting to get back home. Fox 40's Jessica Mensch has that story.
The smoky haze over Paradise can't cover the destruction left from the campfire.
Like I lost my business, my home. I'm pretty sure everything's gone.
Justin Cahoy is one of thousands who evacuated Thursday morning as the campfire raged through his town, now holding on to his family and hope as he waits to see what's left.
And I had a toy hauler. I could have mounted up and had everything I needed, but I didn't have time. This is hard stuff.
Neighbors like Stephen Fiorenza trying to get through roadblocks to get to family.
So I thought I'd just come to Chico, get gas, and go back up and get my mom, and they won't let me back up the hill.
He drove out of town to get gas in his car, planning to come back for his disabled mother, whose home was not destroyed in the fire.
If you can pass this on to the policemen, firemen, go get my mom and get her the hell out of there. I thought the fire danger was not in her area, but evidently I'm finding out it is.
He's reached out to officials in hopes of getting her help. while Cahoy prays his little town will be able to recover.
There's one thing I know for sure, God's good, and then I know it'll be okay.
Jessica Mensch, Fox 40 News.
And take a look at this. The fire's so big you can actually see it from space. This picture is from the NASA Earth Observatory. You can see the smoke billowing into the air, really the scope of how big this fire is. And Christina, we're dealing with the smoking conditions here in Sacramento as well from this fire.
Yeah, absolutely. And from that, you can see just how big and massive this fire is. This piece of video will show you just how strong, really, the conditions were. This is a fire-nado that did actually take place at this fire. It just kind of gives you an idea of the type of winds they were dealing with. Just think of the type of winds you would need to create something like this. So just an amazing sight, and you can see everything around this completely in flames. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the conditions. The only good news right now is that winds have been fairly calm really all day, not really more than 5 miles an hour, gusting only to 5 miles an hour. They've been pretty sporadic though, pushing off to the north and south, not actually pushing off back towards Chico. Most of that happened last night. In fact, you can see all the areas here in yellow is what was happening yesterday and last night, including burning right up to the edge of, you can see, the Chico city line. We're also seeing some of that yellow burning a little bit farther south. All the growth today, the areas of red. So you can see well to the south and to the north of this fire, a little less populated areas, but still, obviously, it's so big now, it's going to take crews some time to get a handle on this. The bad news is the north winds are coming back. Not necessarily tonight or tomorrow. Most of the day looks fine, but tomorrow night, we're going to start to see those winds pick up again. It will be a north wind event, and it will lower humidities one more time. I don't think winds are going to be quite as strong as they were with this last round, and it's likely going to be during the day on Sunday that we'll see the strongest winds, but we're not going to take any chances. National Weather Service has already put out a red flag warning for this area. It will last all the way until Monday morning. It goes into effect tomorrow night at 10. Again, the worst of it could be winds to 30 miles an hour, gusts to 50. Right now, it's not looking like they'll be quite that strong. But again, any wind in this situation is not something we need to see. And humidities, of course, will be very, very dry.
Christina, thanks. Let's talk about those evacuations here. Some of the evacuation orders have been lifted. So those living west on Oro Chico Highway from Estates Drive to Durham-Dayton Highway, you are no longer under an evacuation order. An evacuation warning has also been lifted for those west of Highway 99 from Highway 149 north to Chico city limits.
And the destruction in Butte County, just from seeing all the video and the pictures coming out of there, you can tell it is immense. One of our veteran photographers who was out there today says it is the worst aftermath he's ever witnessed in his 30 years working in TV news. There are thousands of homes and businesses absolutely gone, and the people of Paradise will need a lot of help to rebuild their lives there. So Fox 40 has teamed up with the Salvation Army to help those who have lost everything. You can go to our website right now, fox40.com, to donate. Every little bit helps. There's a banner at the top of the homepage right now. And for the latest details on this wildfire, including evacuation orders and road closures, be sure to download our free Fox 40 app. Once you're there, all you have to do is search Camp Fire.
And another big story that we are following for you on this Friday night. Don't forget these faces that we're rolling through here. The Thousand Oaks community continues to mourn tonight after 12 people were shot and killed inside a country music dance hall earlier this week. And detectives are now trying to figure out exactly what caused this former Marine to go on that deadly rampage that night. This evening, we are hearing from some of the survivors of that shooting.
Fox 40's Sinceri Tunsil has more tonight from Thousand Oaks.
This is the gas station that Ben Campbell ran to when he was first able to escape the shooting inside the Borderline Bar and Grill. He got here and then he ran back into the area to try and help. Running away from his favorite bar, trying to get a gunshot victim to safety, Ben Campbell hadn't begun trying to make sense of what had happened inside Borderline Bar and Grill.
I couldn't believe it. It was so surreal. I almost I almost wanted to see him to kind of wrap my brain around it, because I couldn't believe it. I was like, this isn't happening. There's no way. And I kind of stood there and looked in the bar, and it was just empty. Smoke grenades were going off.
Today, in our closest look yet at investigators working the fatal shooting scene in Thousand Oaks, FBI agents and other officers are 2 days into their own quest for answers. Campbell says he'll never understand.
I'm just doing what I can, staying positive.
I haven't seen anything close to this.
To unravel the unthinkable, a massacre inside a crowded bar, investigators are looking to the reliable.
We're going through methodically and making making sure that we capture every bit of evidence, every piece of information that'll help us fill in the blanks.
Ventura County Sheriff's Captain Garo Karagian, just one member of a whole department missing Sergeant Ron Hellis, killed by a combat Marine veteran, now identified as the borderline gunman, Ian David Long.
And he'd be the first to rush in to try to solve the problem, to try to neutralize that threat. So I know he didn't have a moment's hesitation when he heard those shots.
It was a place everyone says they love to come because of how it welcomed you, made you feel like family, even if it was your first time through the doors. Now Borderline will rely on that family to heal.
Being together as a family, that's all we can do to cope with what has happened.
Just this evening, survivors of the Borderline bar shooting have been able to show up at this roadblock to try to get back their cars that have been locked into this scene for 2 days. It'll be a much longer time before they're able to regain their sense of security. Reporting in Thousand Oaks, Sincere Tonsel, Fox 40 News.
Still ahead for you tonight, the Camp Fire, not the only wildfire raging in California. 2 major wildfires are destroying land and homes down south as neighbors in several cities are forced to leave. We'll take you there coming up next.
This portion of Fox 40 News brought to you by the Folsom Auto Mall.
A new FBI report says that the airline worker who stole that plane at the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport back in August did it alone. 28-year-old Richard Russell is his name. Eventually, he did fly that passenger plane into the ground and he died. A new report released this afternoon says that Russell crashed that plane intentionally. Russell worked as a baggage handler for Horizon Air at that airport. He told air traffic control that day while he was flying in that stolen plane that he was, quote, just a broken guy. The FBI says that they will not be pursuing any charges against anybody. Turning to the wildfire watch again, this time in Southern California. A state of emergency in that area tonight as tens of thousands of acres are burning. The Hill Fire and the Woolsey fires have forced more than 150,000 people from their homes. That's in Ventura County and in Los Angeles County. The more destructive of the two is the Woolsey fire. 2 people have been killed in that, and some others left absolutely speechless as they can do nothing more than watch their neighborhoods burn.
It is absolutely heart-wrenching watching your neighbors' homes across the street from you all burn while you're fighting for your own home. And I'm a bit speechless.
Just in the last 24 hours, officials in Southern California have issued evacuation orders for more than 95,000 people.
And the flames are showing no signs of slowing down. Rick Chambers has more from the front lines.
Gusting winds returned to Bell Canyon today, victimizing homeowners for a second time and charring at least 14 homes along Hitching Post and Flintlock Road.
We had strong winds. We got heavy brush on all sides of these homes and erratic winds as well.
LA City fire crews did what they could on structure protection, removing household items so that something at least would be saved, but a half dozen homes were burning simultaneously, and manpower was just too thin.
Yeah, it's frustrating for everybody. They want nothing more than to be able to save property for folks and protect what they work so hard for, but sometimes the fire and Mother Nature just are not on our side.
Hey guys, this is Chambers. We're going to change positions. Ooh. That just came down.
Collapsing walls and roofs made the fight even more dangerous, but only one minor injury is being reported here.
Everybody tries to back up a little bit more in this type of environment and give a little more space for safety, and so we've avoided other injuries on a number of occasions because of that.
Trying to keep the embers from spreading to even more homes is going to be a tough job throughout the night. Potent winds are still moving across the hillsides.
Rick Chambers reporting tonight. And the Hill Fire is also burning in Ventura County near the site of this week's mass shooting in Thousand Oaks. Flames sparked yesterday afternoon and quickly spread to more than 4,500 acres. This number has actually gone down today as officials were able to get a more accurate map of the burnt area. The fire is about 15% contained. While no homes or businesses have been lost, a number of RVs and outbuildings have burned.
All right, so we've been talking about a lot of heavy stuff here on this Friday night, but this will lighten things up a little bit for you. Fox 40 and 106.5 The End teamed up one last time for tonight's final quarter fan favorite game. So tonight, the Turlock High School Bulldogs are taking on the Oak Ridge Trojans. Fox 40's Martina Del Bonte is there.
Martina.
And Chris K.
We're here at the Turlock at Oak Ridge final quarter fan favorite game of the week.
Playoffs. This is very exciting.
And guess what? We have the section champs right here already.
Volleyball section champs right here. All right, here we go. Ready? Who's spiking?
Where'd he go?
I think they spiked a little harder than that in the game, but congratulations to the Lady Trojans. Volleyball winning it all.
And final quarter tonight at 11 o'clock. We'll see you there.
All right, if you're heading out to football games tonight, Christina, you needed to bundle up.
Yes, it is so chilly out there. We're already seeing temperatures in the 30s in some spots. So let's go ahead and take a look at some video, because this is the other thing a lot of people probably contending with. Smoke and haze. That is not foggy skies. That is not cloud cover. Instead, it was just smoke. This was taken from earlier this afternoon, and this is what we're probably going to see tomorrow as well. All of the smoke from the north from the campfire is making its way into our area. In fact, here's a look. You can see exactly what we're dealing with. But all of that smoke and haze due to north winds has pushed down into the valley, and it just continues to settle because winds right now are very, very calm. Really, we're not seeing much wind at all, and that's sort of the story for tomorrow as well. So another smoky day tomorrow. Then things will start to clear out a little bit on Sunday, but that's when the north winds are going to kick in, and that's not necessarily good news. So because of that smoke and haze, still at this hour, we are seeing pockets of unhealthy air. The areas of red, Yuba City, just into East Sacramento as you make your way into Roseville, Rockland, also up towards Folsom, Granite Bay. We are seeing areas of red, so that is unhealthy air from Stockton into Modesto, stretching off towards the coast. Also unhealthy air. So this is not necessarily a good situation if you do have breathing issues, or if your kids are going to be out and about tomorrow, if you've got games, things like that. This is not going to be a good situation. Again, if you do have any type of asthma, tomorrow forecasted air quality in Sacramento County. This is not the time of year we really worry about this, but because of the smoke, it will be unhealthy tomorrow at times. So you have to keep that in mind. If you do have problems, again, respiratory issues, it could be a problem. As far as temperatures, look at Vacaville. What? It's almost freezing. It is going to be very chilly tonight. So we will talk about that, what to expect for your weekend, and have a complete look at your fire forecast just ahead.
All right, Christina, thank you. A marketing stunt is causing controversy. Coming up, the message Burger King is sending with a series of pictures showing head-on collisions with their restaurants.
Plus, dramatic rescue troopers rushing in to save a man from that burning car right there. We'll show you what led to that fiery scene.
It's the second big Friday night of the high school football playoffs, and we have a big final quarter show planned. Highlights all the scores, the brackets, the matchups, right after our late news.
Dash cam video caught two troopers rescuing a New Jersey man from that burning car. Take a look there. As you can see, the flames were starting to quickly spread into that vehicle. They tried for quite some time to free the driver before that fire spread to the passenger side as well. So they were finally able to drag that man out to safety, and police ended up finding him unconscious with his foot all the way down on the accelerator. And that man managed to get out, believe it or not, without any injuries. Drivers in Elk Grove will see some temporary closures on Bradshaw and Sheldon roads, and that is going to start next week. So be aware if you're going to go into that area. They say that the intersection there will be closed November the 12th and the 13th between the hours of 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. They say that drivers should take an alternate route during those hours because there's going to be a backup. Officials say that the roundabout is going to have some work done to improve flow of traffic and for safety. And they say that detour signs will be in place, alerting everybody, pedestrians and drivers, as to what's happening.
Well, Disney is looking to pull down its films from Netflix after launching its new streaming service. Disney Plus is expected to reach viewers late next year. It will consist of Disney Studios content in addition to Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic content. The service will also feature new original shows as well as movies. The company's revenue recently rose 12% to nearly $14 billion. And it's expected to see even more growth after purchasing 21st Century Fox. All right, Burger King's new ad campaign, it is turning heads because of this right here. The ads show real photos of cars crashing into the restaurant. The fast food chain is promoting its new delivery service, and their new motto is "Leave it to us." Their message in doing this is to not drive when hungry. You can be distracted by your cravings. So these pictures right there causing some controversy on social media. People not sure how this new ad campaign is going to play out, but I don't know, Burger King.
Yeah, I get where they're going, but that's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, okay, thank
That's
you.
weird. That's weird. Just putting it out there. Just my personal
is kinda
opinion.
weird.
Nobody asked.
Yeah.
Still ahead for you tonight, a community in ashes. We've been following this for 2 days. Families forced to start over as a wildfire rips through an entire town. We're talking about Paradise, just to our north. Our coverage of the devastating Camp Fire continues.
And a home security camera captures a suspected burglar's every move, what police are saying about the crime trend, and what you can do to protect yourself.
Welcome back, everybody. An entire town in Butte County reduced to ashes and rubble. We've been watching this happen. Cars left abandoned on the side of the road as people tried to scramble to get out of there. And in the wake of all that destruction, we're talking about the Camp Fire here, and those flames were fanned by strong winds. They tore through the town of Paradise, burning, for the most part, everything in their path. Tens of thousands of families have been forced to pack up everything they have and get out as fast as they could, and unfortunately, not everyone made it out alive.
Fire officials confirm at least 9 people have died. Investigators say some of the victims' bodies were found inside their cars, others outside their homes. Right now, we know 90,000 acres have burned. It is only 5% contained tonight. 15,000 buildings are in the fire's path, and more than 67,000 buildings have been destroyed.
Fox 40's Carmen Dickerson walked through some of that destruction for us this morning.
The Camp Fire ripped through the Northern California community of Paradise, leaving behind dark, smoky skies and devastation as far as the eye can see. Take a look. We're on the main thoroughfare. This is Skyway, and we can see gutted businesses on both sides of the road. And this is pretty much the scene we're seeing no matter where we look. So we can walk along the side here. We're told that this used to be a restaurant and next to it a home furnishings business, but it's really hard to tell. You can see some mangled remnants of tables and chairs, but that's about it. There are also some hot spots of fires, a little smoldering, as you can see some smoke there in the distance. Other than that, the fire made quick work of the community of Paradise. We do want to, though, point out that not every place looks exactly like this. Across the street, we can see an antique mall that did survive. So really, it's hit and miss as you walk up and down the street, which businesses survived, which didn't, which homes survived, which didn't. But essentially, there is not one stretch that we've seen so far that didn't have significant fire damage. Another thing we should point out, taking another look at those skies, we should be seeing broad daylight right now. This should be essentially clear skies. It should look like it's daytime, but it looks like the sun is almost going to set. It is eerie here. If you take into account that we're still under evacuation orders in Paradise, so there's almost no one on the roads, it feels very eerie on the streets here. The traffic that we're seeing back and forth is essentially emergency responders, because while the fire has moved out of Paradise, it is heading north. And so the communities north of Paradise still under active evacuation orders. Paradise is about 80 miles north of Sacramento and about 8 miles east of Chico, to give you an idea. And areas north of here are still threatened by the Camp Fire. Reporting in Paradise, Carmen Dickerson.
You can see all the devastation there. 6,700 buildings destroyed by this fire. Now, a report from the San Jose Mercury News suggests that the Butte County fire may have been started by downed PG&E lines and noted radio transmissions from early Thursday morning.
Possibly in the area of Camp Creek Road. RP was calling from the Poe Dam, looking across under the high tension power lines. There's a possible power line hazard.
Now, according to the Associated Press, PG&E says it experienced a problem on an electrical transmission line near the site of the Camp Fire. The AP reports the company said in a paragraph sent to state utility regulators that it had experienced the outage about 15 minutes before that fire started.
And everybody doing what they can to try and help out here. Comcast has opened thousands of Wi-Fi hotspots throughout Butte County to help victims who have been impacted by the Camp Fire. The company says that these hotspots are available to everybody, regardless of whether or not you're a Comcast customer. In the meantime, though, a spokesperson for State Farm also urging homeowners to reach out to their insurance companies right now to start the recovery process ASAP. That spokesperson also says to hang on to all of your receipts from your temporary living expenses so that you can be reimbursed for all of it. And you can download the Fox 40 app as well. That's where you'll be able to get the most up-to-date information on the Camp Fire. Also, those 2 fires burning in Southern California. All you have to do is search Camp Fire.
A thief caught on camera rummaging through a Davis family's home as a security system rolls on his every move. The man can be seen grabbing a laptop off the coffee table before moving to the entertainment center to swipe other electronics. Davis police say the out-of-town homeowner called 911 as they watched it happen from their phone Using their Nest app, police responded quickly, but they were too late. Neighbors say this video is unsettling.
To be able to actually see somebody in your home going through your stuff, it just would be such a weird and, I don't know, a weird feeling, and I would feel unsafe.
Police say home burglars often go for electronics because they're small and worth a lot of money. Anyone who recognizes the suspect is asked to call the Davis Police Department. A 33-year-old Stockton man has been charged with sex trafficking a young woman from San Jose to Salt Lake City. The woman was rescued at a motel in Santa Clara after she was able to call police. Her alleged abuser, Anthony Thomas Jr., was arrested at the 49ers-Raiders game. The woman told police Thomas contacted her on Instagram. When they met, he forced her to prostitute in 5 states. He faces felony sex trafficking, pimping, and pandering charges.
A family fight turned deadly in the city of Denair. Deputies responded to a call on Marazan Street. This is yesterday. When they got there, they say that they arrested 36-year-old Jason Schaefer as he was coming out of that house. Authorities later found 56-year-old Gregory Schaefer dead from a stab wound. He was apparently the suspect's stepfather. Police say that while he was booked into jail, Schaefer also assaulted deputies, so additional charges were added for battery on a peace officer.
Hollywood actors joined together in Pittsburgh today to honor the 11 people killed in the Tree of Life synagogue shooting. Michael Keaton was one of the notables who addressed people gathering for the Rally for Peace. The event included other speakers, songs, as well as a moment of silence. Actor Tom Hanks spoke at the event about the strength of the community.
The people of Pittsburgh live in good neighborhoods that do not divide the city, but that define it. A visitor here will learn of the unbreakable bond shared by all who wear the black and the gold.